Good morning. This is Bill from Out of Europa, Naples, and today I'm fighting another muggy, miserable Florida morning. I keep saying that, but it's true. I mean, this is a time that nobody really wants to be here. Only the most diehard lunatics come to Florida to vacation in the summer. The smart people get the hell out. They go where it's colder, like, the North Pole or Alaska. The dumb people stay here like me and suffer through the insects and the humidity and the mugginess and the everyone's, oh God, it gets hot in New Jersey. Yeah, fine, you might reach the same temperature. It may look the same when you're looking at the weather report, but we have this sun, this tropical sun that comes at you like a magnifying glass and just will burn you to an absolute cinder if you're outside. And then you mix that with humidity you can cut with a knife, insects the size of dodo birds, and it just becomes almost untenable. The good news is we're getting late in the summer. There's probably another, only 4 or 5 months left before we get some tolerable weather. So good news right around the corner. Anyway, today I have this 2003 Porsche 911 Carrera Coupe. If there's any car in the world that has become a global icon, it is the 911. It's instantly recognizable. It's up there with the, in terms of identitability with the 57 Chevy, the Corvette, and the Beetle. Which of course it does share some lineage with. That said, Porsche has, though derived this car from Beetle-based stuff, they've turned it into something entirely different over the years, despite all the jokes your friends may throw at you. And if you own one, you do own one of the finest sports cars. It doesn't matter what year, from the beginning till current, you will own one of the finest sports cars ever built. Now this 03 is the second generation 996. You can instantly tell that by the headlights. You can see they don't look anything like the headlights on a Boxster. When the 996 came out, that was one of the big complaints about the car, was that the headlights were, looked like they were popped off the Boxster and popped onto this thing, and that didn't make your traditional 911 guy happy because he wanted to distinguish himself from the Boxster, and, I guess I can't blame him. It did cost quite a bit more. This one is finished in Guards Red, a fantastic color, has the optional 18-inch 5-star alloys, terrific, xenon headlamps up front. This was also owned by a close personal friend of mine, which maybe doesn't bode well for the car. Oh, I'm sure it's fine. He's a good guy. And he's one of those anal guys who keeps it in the garage, keeps it waxed, puts a PCA sticker on the front, actually joins the PCA, changes the oil with the recommended weights at the recommended intervals, has little Porsche chemicals on his tiled floor, the shelves in the garage, and otherwise just keeps his car extremely nice. He also doesn't drive it much. It has just 40,000 miles, and he was a fantastic steward for the car while he owned it. The good news is he also drove it in a spirited manner, which you have to do with a 911. Don't be one of those guys who takes this thing and treats it like some kind of garage queen. That is not what it's meant to be. In fact, it's dangerous and harmful to the car if you do that. You've heard about that whole IMS bearing issue on these things. The internet has everybody worked up into an absolute mist. God, that drives me nuts. We're moving locations. In fact, we're in the process of moving locations right now. And I have outfitted one of the rooms there as a photo and video booth. Also my office. It's locked away from everybody else so nobody can get at me. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It means I'm going to be able to do more cars with the lighting. I'm going to be able to, take better time and really just annoy the hell out of everybody, at a leisurely pace. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping to be in there by the end of the week, just trying to trace down some elephant tusks and rhino horns for the decoration. Anyway, where the hell was I? The 911, yeah, the IMS bearing thing. So it's all been overblown on the internet. They've put all these people into an absolute tizzy and a panic over it. What that is the intermediate shaft bearing. It's a shaft that runs inside the engine to sort of counterbalance the cams and keep the timing chain moving properly at a slower pace than it would be if there wasn't one. And the bearings on the end of it, they can go bad and it can cause big problems. But it happens to a minimal amount of these cars, and mostly it happens because the cars have been tracked heavily, or on the other end of the spectrum, put in a garage and short shifted and driven like some old lady had it. The cooling fan kicked on. I have a bit of a spirited drive this morning. So anyway, 99% of these cars, you're going to be just fine with the IMS that's in it. In fact, I'd really rather have the IMS bearing installed by some well-paid technician at Stuttgart than some, bearded caveman-looking mechanic with a drug and alcohol problem in a shop somewhere in East Skokie. But anyway, take that as you will. If you want to upgrade the IMS, it's not a bad idea. I don't recommend it as preventative maintenance. I can see when you're doing a clutch or something, or rear main seal, inspect it, have a look at it. If it makes you feel better, have someone competent put it in for you. But otherwise, calm down and relax. It is not the be-all, end-all death knell for the 996, 911 that the little internet cottage industry has made it out to be. There's a lot of people making a lot of money on that whole thing. Anyway, so the second gen 996, they added a bunch of stuff. They widened the fenders a little bit. They put these twin oval twice pipes on the back. Most importantly, they went, in fact, let's get in there. I'm not even going to play with the mist anymore. The hell with it. It can just be misty. Well, there's two most important things. One is this. The other is that they finally added cup holders. Anyway, this is a now 3.6 liter flat six boxer motor using the Turbo's VarioCam Plus timing system, which is essentially a VVT system that can vary the cam timing by about 40 degrees the range and keeps the rev band nice and smooth and pulling all the way from the bottom to the top. It's a fantastic system. Works very, very well. It keeps everything nice and proper, and just a lovely way to get around. They bumped the horsepower from a little under 300 to about 320. 0 to 60 time went down under 5 seconds, and the quarter mile time in the 13. So very, very quick car and lovely to drive. Such a grand tour. Now, I sold another friend a 911. He said he wishes he had a rear wiper. So this one does have it. Some sort of bird something. Anyway, that's a take it or leave it thing. Some guys love the rear wiper, some guys don't. I think it's cool. It's very unlike most other cars. I mean, what, coupe do you know of that has a rear wiper other than this thing? So anyway, that harkens back to a lot of earlier models. I also like that they've added electric releases for the hatch and the trunk. Should say the frunk. Speaking of my friend I sold a 911 to, that's him calling right now, if he can wait. God, does he love that thing. He wanted the cheapest one in the country. I found him one with like 140,000 miles that was very well owned, and he loves driving it. He takes that thing everywhere. Won't even let his dog in it, which is bizarre. His dog goes everywhere. Anyway, here's the frunk, and you can see it's a nice deep area. If you want to go on a weekend trip, it's not going to be a problem. Also has a nice, proper, it's funny, the world, the way it's become. It's now proper to have a donut-sized spare tire. I remember when the donut was the joke. Now cars don't have spare tires at all. They use these ridiculous run-flat things. Anyway, everything nice and proper under there. You see the factory mats. I'm going to zero in on this build sticker. If someone wants to pause it and see what this thing came with, there it is. Does have some nice options on this car, the ones you want. To close this, you just drop it, let it click to the first level, and then give it a gentle push. Don't dent the front hood of your car. Look at the headlights on this thing. Again, for original, this thing has never been out of a garage. Sometimes you see these where the little insulated rubber gets all sticky and starts coming out. The headlights turn yellow and fade. I mean, these things are like fresh out of the box. They're perfect, and very much a testament to the way this car's been kept. Those 5-star optional 18s, ride nice fat tires. They have giant vented brakes. Porsche really reduced the weight of the wheel and tire. I think they brought down the unsprung weight in this car by like 40 pounds or so. So pretty impressive stuff. Vented rotors, big 2 or 3, I don't remember how many piston calipers there, caliper pistons. Nice big brakes anyway, and it really tears this thing down from a rip roar in a heartbeat. Same at the rear, and the way this guy kept it. I mean, there's not even any rust around the rotors. And look at the shininess of the calipers. You know, I can't keep a car this nice because I just don't have that kind of willpower. So kudos to this fella for that. I like the little red bumperettes color-coded to the bumper. They used to be black on earlier models. This guy here looks like the Venetian blinds on your window. That is an electronic spoiler that senses what speed you're going, and at a certain speed will lift up the spoiler, keep the ass end planted down, keep everything nice and stable. Suspension-wise, uses McPherson struts up front, trailing links in the back, and of course, epic Porsche handling. The 996 is truly the first 911 that wasn't lethal in terms of learning how to drive it on a racetrack. Of course, a big ass engine car. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You've got this, you know, big heavy thing hanging over the rear bumper. But you know, Porsche using the transmission to move it forward, using a lot of balancing, managed to make the handling in this car way more neutral and much more accessible to the common guys who, you know, wouldn't reach this hard limit in an extreme hurry and hurt himself. So kudos to Porsche on that. You know, Toyota had a lot of influence on the 996. Porsche went to Toyota to get some advice, and you know, people make fun of that. Man, if I want any car company being part of designing the German car that I'm going to own, I'll be very happy if it's Toyota, because God knows, you know, I've seen some repair bills in the shop that would shock people. So you don't get that with the Toyota side of things. All right, I'm going to look inside. So matching the classic Guards Red exterior is this rather beautiful black leather inside. This does have the sport seats, very nice option. You can tell that by these big shoulder bolsters. Very comfy place to be. You've got a lovely finished door panel here with a little map pocket. Another place my detailer didn't clean. Lovely leather cover on that. Just, you know, all very nice and Teutonic and simple and Porsche. You know, while the materials are excellent, the quality is excellent, Porsche, at least in this generation, didn't try to overwhelm you with technology or buttons. They just wanted to build a very simple, pure sports car, and that's what they did. And again, despite the 996 getting all the controversy, when these things were out, when they were, you know, current, the automotive press went nuts for them. They said they were the easiest and smoothest and fastest 911s they'd ever had, and that truly is a fact. This car did usher Porsche into the modern era, you know, from building these really cool but just low production, you know, weird air-cooled cars into something that could be modernized and kept going. You know, I know I'm rambling, but the 911 was slated to die. If you remember when the 928 came out, that was supposed to replace this car. But of course, all the purists, the 911 guys, went apeshit, and they really did force Porsche to keep developing the 911. And they did for as long as they could in air-cooled format, and finally had to go, you know, give in, go water-cooled, and the 996 was the result. And the second-gen 996 really built on the successes of the first. All right, enough babbling. Let's get in and driving. So we've got the key tumbler on the left side, Le Mans style. Very nice. You can hear the way that flat six fires up is unlike anything else. The, you know, the mechanical sounds, the whirring, the ticking. You know, it's just absolutely distinctive Porsche. Nothing else sounds like that. Not even a Subaru. Maybe to some extent a Beetle. Kidding. Let me get our seatbelt on. Okay, so what do we have? We've got a very lovely laid out instrument cluster. This one from the second gen 996 came straight out of the turbo model. So very, very cool stuff. You see it's full gauges, you got your voltmeter, your 200 mile an hour speedo, and you know, this thing will run up near 180. So again, not you know, not just for show. You got your TAC dead center with the driver information center below it. You know, you can see what Porsche considers important. That TAC is staring you right in the face. Up top, you've got your water temp, you've got your fuel to the right of that, a clock beneath, and of course your oil pressure over there on the far right. You also have a digital speedo, which is nice. Here's your light control, pull once for front fogs, pull twice for rear fogs. Power mirrors and a nice little hidden spot up there, easy to get to. Lovely jet intake door pulls there and that titanium silvery finish. You know, there's a beautiful subtlety to the design of this car. The instrument, hump there, dashboard, all laid out like a very classic 911 with the speakers. Very, very nice stuff, you know, reminiscent of every 911 that came before it. Porsche sort of changed that now. They did upgrade the stereo to, you know, very fancy Bose system this year, in-dash CD, nice stuff. You got your rear wiper control. This one does have PSM, Porsche Stability Management. It's a very advanced traction control that's nice to have. You know, keeps the car firmly planted when you're hauling ass around the racetrack. You also have cruise control, lovely stuff, automatic climate control. You know, he had replaced this unit, I think, at some point because sometimes the display goes wonky. Absolutely perfect. This was also the first 911 with an actual built-in cup holder. The you know, Porsche engineers finally gave in and decided somebody might want a coffee on their way to work. Down here you've got your CD storage, a little bin. You've got your optional heated seats, lovely 6-speed manual gearbox, leather and titanium looking, very, very nice to shift. He replaced his lighter with a no smoking thing because, again, he's a pretty anal guy. Got a nice set of books in there. We got service records. He made up a piece of paper with every bit of service he ever did to it. So, you know, pretty thoughtful cat, truly. All right, clutch in. Let's go for a spin. I'm still not used to doing this with this video camera. We do have a sunroof up top, but who cares? Also in the back, you've got room for the grandkids, or they will flip down the tops of the seats to give you more storage. All right, so driving is what the 911 is all about. It's what it's all for. What it is a daily driving car, very, very comfy, cushy, nice. Oh God, we've got mist now on the windshield from when I had defrost on. The weather, the hell with it, I'm just leaving it on. Anyway, so look, it's this thing that you can gently daily drive every day. It's soft on the rump, you don't feel every bump. The steering is absolutely incredible, mind you. But even though it says let's just hit it. Oh my God, is that lovely. I mean, you get this baritone, deep intake growl, exhaust growl, everything, the engine, the mechanicals, just lovely to listen to. Anyway, so, you know, it can do that in the midst of daily driving you to work, which is just a lovely thing. You know, when you think about it, it's absolutely amazing that they've built this car that's very, very, I mean, Eldorado comfortable just to drive locally. Oh God, I'm going to regret this. Hold on. Yeah, you get in that cycle where you get you know, you had your defrost on, it starts fogging up the outside of the window, and you just, God damn it, you don't know what to do. All right, let's just try defrost. No, I don't want defrost. All right, the hell with it, too noisy. Okay, anyway, you get this car that you can daily drive to work. Very cushy, very smooth, almost Cadillac drive quality. And at the same time, you can take it to a racetrack and turn in the most incredible lap times. You can, you know, drive it around the autocross and get fast time of the day. And you can still fit 4 people in it and take it on a weekend trip comfortably anywhere in the country. So, I mean, it really has lived up to Porsche's design philosophy, the original one, which is, you know, get two people where they're going as comfortably as they're possible, as you know, while going very quickly. So this does that, and it does it very, very well. Anyway, there it is. You know, what can you say about a 911 that hasn't already been said? It is one of the most iconic and incredible sports cars in world history. They've maintained a purity of design over decades that Porschephiles will, you know, go to battle over. And, you know, just built probably the most incredible sports car or series of sports cars in the world. Sorry, Corvette, but, you know, they really did. So, anyway, this one, 03 911 Carrera Coupe, 6-speed manual gearbox, immaculate inside and out, fantastic color combination, just a terrific all-around car. If you have an interest, give us a call, 239-298-8000, new number, 239-298-8000, on the web at mercedesexpert.com. Very happy for you to have a look today. We appreciate it, and we'll see you with the next one. Take care.